Tony's Topics, Tony's Topics, Tony's Topics. What's happening, folks? My name's Tony. Welcome to Tony's Topics. What do I want to talk about? The NBA. Last night I ran a quick little brief summary over the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Houston Rockets. But you know what? There were so many games last night that just show really what's going on in the NBA that I gotta talk about them. Okay, so let's start from the top. The Pelicans versus Charlotte. Who cares? Charlotte got it, but who cares? Houston versus Cleveland. I already talked about that. Go back a couple of episodes. I'm going to have to number these episodes so I can refer you to which one to go to, but I already talked about that. All right, next up. Cleveland. Anyway, Milwaukee versus Philadelphia. Who cares? Okay, the Knicks versus Washington. Of course, Washington wins. Next. Memphis versus Atlanta. That's the first one, right? Okay, so we know Memphis is at a loss right now because they don't have Zach Randolph, but at the same time, I'm wondering why the coach chose to run Stokes instead of Lure at the power forward position. That almost just seemed like a mess up. Or maybe Kufos, you do need to have two bigs on the floor. Now, typically, I would have probably gone with Lure. He seems to be a little bit more power forward, agile-like, and then, use Kufos as the backup, or just put the three in rotation. But only barely playing Lure, you kind of asked for that one. I mean, you were playing the Atlanta Hawks. What are you thinking? Okay, next up. Boston, Brooklyn. Who cares? Nice to see Boston still has something in the tank, but who cares? Let's see. Utah versus Chicago. Chicago loses by 20 points to Utah. Not that I'm going for Chicago to win it all, but how many times have I said that Taj Gibson needs to be in the starting lineup as the small forward, okay? We already know you're going to play Joakim Noah at center. We know you're going to play Pau Gasol at power forward. We know you're going to play Jimmy Butler. Right now you're trying to play Jimmy Butler as small forward, but Jimmy Butler, I don't think he's broken 20 points since he's been playing as a small forward. Put that man back as shooting guard so he can get his 22 points. And, Derrick Rose, of course you're going to give him point guard. Bottom line, you get Taj Gibson in the starting lineup. The Bulls are strong, and you already can put Muradic in the rotation at the power forward center position. The Bulls are strong, but like any other team, they must be played right. This coach, 1 minute this coach just has to play Dunleavy. Now he just has to play Henrik. Both those guys are backup players. They're not starters. But you know what? It's good for me because I'm not going for the Bulls to win anyway. So whatever, keep messing up. It works for me. Okay, moving on here. Let's see here. The Bulls, blah, 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 blah. Detroit versus Dallas. Yeah, that kind of caught me. Like, how's Dallas losing to Detroit? But everybody's acting in Detroit like it's 6-game streak since Josh Smith left. That's kind of got to mess with you a little bit. Still, though, Dallas getting beat. I don't know, there was just, and I know it almost seems like faux pas, especially since they've got Tyson Chandler back, but I'm like, maybe, just maybe, because they played Dirk Nowitzki as a center one time, and Dirk broke 30 points. Now, for the most part this season, I don't know if you've been watching, but Dirk Nowitzki's been struggling to break 20 points. I mean, occasionally he's hitting 20. So, but the one time he plays center, he hits 30. I don't know. I mean, I definitely wouldn't want to lose a player like Tyson Chandler off the court or at the star position, but maybe, just maybe, we might need to change something up there, because if you have a 30-point player possible on the Dallas Mavericks, you need to bring that out. Okay, moving on here. Let's see here. Boston. Oh, yeah, we already talked about Boston, Brooklyn, Detroit, Dallas, Orlando, Denver. Who cares? Denver pulled it, whatever. Phoenix Suns over Minnesota. Yeah, Phoenix always sits there right outside the top 8 teams in the West. Who cares? Let's see here. OKC versus Sacramento. OKC got tore. I told you it was coming. Durant's back. What's the problem? Westbrook's playing. What's the problem? The problem is you should have did what I said a long time ago and moved Westbrook to the shooting guard position. I mean, honestly, that might have been the only thing that the Cavaliers did right. Okay, because David Blatt was insisting on playing Dellavedova last night all game long, but it did put Kyrie Irving into the shooting guard position instead of having to always worry about controlling the ball and distributing. Westbrook is a shooting guard. Okay, there's two types of shooting guards. There are shooting guards that actually shoot, and then there are shooting guards that slash to the basket. They're like running backs. They're coming in. They're doing stuff. They're, Dwayne Wade type stuff. Westbrook is number 2, okay? So you play him as a shooting guard. That guy was never meant to be a ball facilitator. He was never meant to pass. He is meant to score. He is a machine gun, and he's supposed to go off. He is not a distributor, man. Yeah, now, will Scotty Brooks figure it out? He hasn't figured it out the past 3 years before this. I mean, you are talking about the team that lost James Harden. This guy putting Reggie Jackson on the bench. Sorry, Scotty. You just lost to the Utah Jazz? You need to think of something different. Okay, let's keep it pushing. I'm sorry. Or the Sacramento Kings. Still, you know, Sacramento, honestly, I think they were doing better when they had that coach. Either way it goes, let's see here. Golden State over Indiana. Absolutely Golden State was going to win. Thing I like, the fact that he didn't put, Steve Kerr didn't put Bogut back in the starting center position. He left Spikes in there. Spikes has been getting 20 points a game. Yeah, you leave Spikes in. There's no question as to who's the better center. You bring in Bogut as your backup center. Bogut is to Golden State Warriors like Perkins is to OKC. He's good for rebounds, but he's really not a scoring champion. But with Spikes in there, you just got to have too many, you have 5 live guys. Now, the one thing that just does not make sense is the David Lee issue. I know you've been running Harrison Barnes and Green since the beginning of the season, and I'm fine with Green. I'm honestly fine with Barnes, but no matter what you do, by the end of the night, if David Lee hasn't had 30 minutes on the floor, you messed up. That's all I'm saying. Okay? Golden State, you've never had it this good. And make no doubt, when they have to renegotiate for Spice's contract, that guy's going. Shoot, Green's probably going. So you better use him while you got him, because this is your shot at the ring, at the championship. Alrighty then. And the Clippers versus the Lakers. Don't even get happy about that. Number one, finally Matt Barnes got 20 points. Yeah, against a broken team. And don't even get me started on how that team's not playing Carlos Boozer right. That's another guy who should be getting 30 minutes a night who's not. These coaches, though. These coaches. Oh, now, please, Doc. You finally got my boy back. What's his name? Your power forward that you hate playing. That big kid. What's that kid's name? Goodness gracious. I have to look this guy's name up. Either way it goes. You know who he is. He's the big guy that you play when you don't play your center and you're not playing Blake Griffin at power forward. You know who that guy is that I'm referring to. Either way it goes, you finally got him back. Blah, 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 blah. Spencer Hawes. You finally got him back. Play him this time, Doc. We saw what happened when you didn't have him. Please learn from your mistakes. Goodness. And why didn't Crawford get 24 minutes? I mean, Crawford has done too much for that team to not get 24 minutes. Unless Crawford's hurt, he better get 24 minutes. Who knows? He might, you've seen how they play in the NBA. Sometimes they'll have a slow start and then they'll heat up later. There's not that many guys who can score 20 points a game. If your guy can do it, you leave him in there to do it. Okay. Alrighty then. So tonight's games. Let's talk about tonight's games. What do we got? Charlotte, Toronto. Of course, Toronto. And DeMar DeRozan's coming back. Ooh, the plot thickens. Houston Rockets versus the Knicks. Of course, I would say the Houston Rockets, except that they had to ball their hearts out last night. Ergo, the Knicks might actually win this. I'd still bet on the Rockets, but the Knicks win only because the Rockets are tired. Miami versus Portland. Portland all day. And that's my time, and that's my topics.